everyone's going to be able to accomplish their goals, more readily in this type of environment.
Welcome back to another episode of Change and the Market. Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Kevin Chamala, and with us is CEO of the Masiello Group, Chris Masiello. How are we doing today, Chris?
Hi, Kevin. Good to be with you and good to be with everybody in our community.
Thank you for joining us today. As what we want to get into is based off of the Zillow article, where to discuss how there are more motivated sellers and more active listings overall than any time last December, and how they're calling this time in the market right now the sweet spot.
Yeah, I think it's really appropriate, right? We're in the first week of October. I think Zillow hit it right on the head of the nail, where that I think we are in a sweet spot right now. You have this combination of, again, interest rates have gone up, so that has helped inventory build a little bit. Home appreciation is still going up modestly though, and home values are going to continue to go up because of the inventory. So this really isn't a whole lot different what we're talking about today than what we've been talking about. I think though the difference though is the sweet spot, and this is kind of like one of the first times we understand it this way, but it's one of the first times that I've heard it at a national level labeled that. And so I think for our audience, there are a couple things here, and I as an analogy. So in space, they have what's called a gravity well. And the gravity well is basically where they'll park satellites because it's neutral space. And it's, within the gravity well, you're not being pulled in one direction, like the satellite, for instance, isn't being pulled in one direction or the other. You can actually park it there in an orbit and it'll be okay. And I think that's the market is experiencing basically the same as a gravity well, that we've got this moment in time. How long is it going to last? 3, 4, 5 months, maybe something like that, maybe 6, but I doubt that long, because nothing ever lasts that long. Things, when you get into certain conditions, everything's changing all the time. And when you're in a in-between state, which is what we're in now, okay, you're more likely to have it to be fleeting than to have it be long. Mm-hmm. I think that's why calling this the sweet spot, I think was really appropriate. And then if you think about almost being, that gravity well example, it's almost like being in stasis. Okay, this won't last long, and so as we've been saying, and again as everybody else has been saying now, really more prominently, really across the financial news and personal financial advisors, don't burn this opportunity. And I think what's happening though is that the higher interest rates, because we're not used to them, right? Yep. I mean, I remember when interest rates were 18%, so I don't know, 7%.
That's why I try to remind people.
Yeah. But listen, if you used interest rates at being 3%, well, that's times 2 plus a little bit. So I get it. And I think though that what's happening is that those higher interest rates are shrouding the opportunity. And I think to the extent that you can financially take that out of the equation, because that's just temporary. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the opportunity is kind of hiding in plain sight, but what's kind of shrouding it a little bit is the fact that interest rates went up so quickly. But that's a temporary condition. And I think to appreciate the fact that those higher rates, a little more inventory, still got appreciation though, right? That's those three things, right? That's what's kind of created this gravity well for opportunity, which is what I think Zillow's calling the sweet spot.
No, absolutely. And that sweet spot is for both buyers and sellers, right? Like, I think that's why it's called the sweet spot.
Yeah. Everyone's going to be able to accomplish their goals, more readily in this type of environment. And I think the life lesson is that everything is always in a state of change. Yes. Always. Yes. Everything.
Yes.
Nothing escapes. I mean, even rocks over time deteriorate. Okay. Yep. So like everything, it might take 1,000,000 years, but it doesn't matter. Right. Mm-hmm. So don't waste this opportunity.
And I think that's a great way to close us out today. Don't waste this opportunity. We're in a great sweet spot, whether you're buying or selling. Take advantage, because as Chris just mentioned, nothing is in a state of stillness, and we're always constantly evolving and changing. So I think that's a great way to round out this week's episode. Short and sweet. No pun intended with the sweet spot that we were discussing.
Oh, very good. Very clever.
But thank everybody for joining us today. Please like, subscribe, share with your family, friends, agents, clients, and we'll see you back next week for an episode of Change of the Market.
Thanks, Kevin. Good to be with you.